Yes, please.
You look like a nice boy.
Do you want a balloon too, Georgie?
I'm not supposed to take stuff from strangers.
Oh, well, I'm Pennywise, the dancing clown. Now we aren't strangers, are we?
I should get going now.
Oh. Without your boat? Here. Take it.
Welcome back to A Night at the Rams Table, and here we are discussing the 2017 remake of It. We shall be discussing the actual film, what we thought about it, and even comparing it and discussing the original 1990 movie and the original Stephen King's novel. And so right now it's my brother Ray and my brother Bill and
Hello.
me, Sam.
Hello, and we got a special guest today.
Yeah, that's our sister Ashley. She's the one who's actually read the book, and she's also the one who actually got terrified of the original It. She's one of the people,
Only one who got terrified
who
of
are
the movie.
traumatized.
It's great. Tim Curry
by
is
Tim
scary.
Curry.
Even at the Wild Thornberries, when he laughs a certain way, it would still scare me.
Smash him.
What a wuss.
All right. Well, first of all, before we get into the characters, let's talk about the actual film, the new one, It. What did you think about it in general?
The new movie?
Yes.
Alright, new movie. What I liked about it, I thought it was a great movie. It didn't scare me, but once again, the original movie, 1990, did not scare me either. I mean, I love Tim Curry. Beep, beep. I like the kids, and to me, the guy who stole the movie was Richie, the guy from Stranger Things. Maybe I'm biased because I like Stranger Things, and I could relate to the movie more because of him. I think you should go see it. I mean, see it more than once, but once again, it didn't scare me, but that's just me. I mean, I come from the 70s, like my family. We saw The Exorcist, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. I mean, we were there.
Night of the Demons.
Night of the Demons, yes. Evil Dead.
I was gonna say, 70s,
You know.
not all of us are as old.
No. Yeah, you're old too, girl. You look it.
I'm not from the 70s.
Anyway.
So we're from the 80s.
Yeah, but
You're still old bastards.
But you guys saw the movies later, you know what I mean? Growing up in our house, you know what I mean? Our house, horror movie, it's a way of life.
You think it's a freaking costume?
Yeah.
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life. I mean, in our household, Halloween is Christmas. So, you know.
All year round.
Pretty much, yeah. But like I said, the movie, this 2017 movie, I really have no bad thing to say about it. I mean, I can nitpick stuff here and there, you know. For this generation, it was a good movie.
Okay, so the way I saw this It movie,
You fell asleep in it.
no, I thought it was very well done. But like my brother did reference to, if you saw Stranger Things on Netflix, then the whole It movie has that Stranger Things kind of feel to the movie. It has that same kind of tone, and I think the part when, okay, spoiler alert, when they're jumping off the reservoir, it looks like the same reservoir in Stranger Things. So, you know, like I said, and then of course the guy Richie who came on Stranger Things, pretty much like my brother said, does steal the show. He's, I think he kind of carries the movie. Overall, I like the Tim Curry It version in the 1990. I think he was more scarier. I think he was more meaner. I wasn't really scared from this It. I thought he was more annoying than scary. But as far as It goes, I think the character in this movie did a pretty good job. The CGI, I mean, it was, I guess, I mean, if you based on the claymation of 1990, it's a hell lot better. But, you know, there's something a little bit left to be desired. I didn't like the filming part where like, you know, they show his hair, like, it looks like a L'Oreal commercial, where, you know, he finally shows up. Well, maybe it's Maybelline, I don't know.
He's born with it.
Or maybe he's born with it, yeah. Compared to, the one where, in the 1990 version where he kind of like stop animation, he looks at you and he runs to you and he sticks his hand out.
I'll drive you crazy and I'll kill you all. I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
But overall, as It, I think he did a good job. And now I'll turn it over to Sam.
My general feelings on the 2017 It is that I do enjoy it. I think it's a fun film. It's not scary at all, or at least not scary to us who are just horror veterans. We're watching horror since we're kids. So it's not scary at all to us. But the sad part is, it really is good. I've been hearing a lot of people say that it's not scary. Even people who aren't watch horror films as much as we do. They're saying it's not scary. And I can see why. We'll get into more detail about that when we get to more individual parts. But in general, it's a decent film. Now, it's not 100% accurate to the book, even though it's marketed that way. It's not. And we'll get into more detail in a little bit again. From the way it looks, the actual coloring, how dark everything looks, it feels okay. The actual town of Derry, it feels off, like the way it's supposed to feel that way. How everything feels doesn't feel right. So I like the way that feels. The guy who plays it does a very good job. I like the way they incorporate him into this world. I do have some problems with him and some problems with our shit. The kids, for the most part, they're decent, I guess. There's nothing too bad, but nothing too great about them, except Richie, like everybody else mentioned. Richie was really funny. All his jokes were just spot on. If you just watch the movie, if you never watched the original 1990 film or even read the book, you might actually enjoy it. But if you watched the original movie or you read the book, there are going to be some glaring problems with this film. But overall, I don't think it's a bad film. It's, for what it is, not comparing to the book or to the other film, it's watchable. I think it's a pretty good film. And recently, I don't know if you guys heard, it actually surpassed The Exorcist in being the number one, making the most money out of horror films.
For real?
But that's because everyone's seen it 2 or 3 or 4 times.
It's like the highest grossing horror film.
That's all. No one's ever passed The Exorcist. This one finally has, just because people keep watching it and watching it and watching it.
Well, it's like the movie Avatar. It's the most highest paid movie. So I think it still is, isn't it?
Well, actually, Gone with the Wind is if you don't adjust for inflation.
Yeah, but
All right. Well, that's what pretty much it. I think it's an okay film for what it is. And you want to give your general opinions on it?
Now we have a special guest. Ashley Ramirez.
I have to actually disagree with my brothers about when they compare it to Stranger Things. I love Stranger Things.
Okay, that's it for Ashley. Thank you. Have a good night. Get out of here. Don't hit your ass on the way.
Stranger Things, I loved it because it reminded the kids, the bonds and everything they had reminded me of the kids of the Losers Club from the 1990 version. It reminded me of that, and that's why I ended up loving Stranger Things. To me, in the new movie, it's a pale imitation of it. The only one, as I said, for me was a standout kid was Richie. I think it's an okay film, and that's it. I would see it maybe once every 2 years or so. It's definitely not something that I would watch consistently, which we'll probably get into a little bit more about. But I mean, as far as Pennywise the Clown, Tim Curry is always going to be the one who scares me. But I think Bill Skarsgård, who plays the new Pennywise, he does do a very good job, though, for what he was given.
All right, well, I think before we get to it, let's talk about the other characters before we get into anything else. So I say let's start with the main character, Bill. Let you start because you know more about the book and all the other stuff like that.
Well, as far as the book, Bill is the unquestionable leader. All of them love him for various reasons.
The Megatron of this thing.
Yeah. I mean, Eddie, they even make a comment when Ben first meets them. He knows that Eddie, is just so enamored by Bill that, he'll do whatever it is for Bill because Bill is, he's like the big brother of the whole group. The thing I didn't like about the movie, though, is that Bill's stutter is actually a very focused thing in the book and in the 1990 version, and it's barely shown in this movie. I can only remember one time he actually stuttered. Maybe once or twice.
It's not a focus in this new movie, so
Yeah, it's not really played on too much.
And the fact that he's the writer that, and that plays into in the sequel where he's a very successful writer. Basically, he's Stephen King in the movie. In the universe. Stephen King always puts himself in the books. Like most of his main characters are alcoholics, writers, you know, have certain issues, stuff that Stephen King himself battles
Like
with.
Jack in the Shining.
Yeah.
That's what Bill becomes.
Yeah, but if you look
Jack.
at Stephen King movies, like in Salem's Lot, the main character, he's a writer as well.
Bill, too, is that I think in the 1990 version, because Bill actually knows his brother is dead, they found his body, they had a funeral for him. You know, his pain of his brother is, I think, is more palpable. And this one, it's just, I don't know, it's a little weird. Just, they don't know what happened to Georgie. I mean, they obviously assume he's dead. But with Bill, I mean, his desire for vengeance against Pennywise, I think, is more felt in the book in 1990 version because he knows what happened to his brother. He saw what happened to his brother.
You don't think he had vengeance in this movie?
I think he did, but I think it's such a secondary part.
He played it off more like he had hope that he was alive.
Yeah.
Like that's why he get mad at Richie for saying that he's dead. He's like, stop saying he's dead. He's to say he's missing. It's like he's dead. You know.
See, I never read the book, but in the '90s version, I got a sense Bill felt more guilty.
Yeah.
And this movie, in 2017, he feels more like he wants revenge.
Well, in the 1990, they kind of show like the parents blame Bill for Georgie's death.
Are you all right?
What's wrong, son? What is it?
The picture. Georgie's picture. Mom, don't you see? Mom,
What were you doing in Georgie's room?
Nothing. Dad, listen.
I don't want you ever coming in here again, son. Do you understand?
Dad.
I mean it, Bill.
Which, that is a scary scene in itself, which I'm disappointed they didn't show in this movie when Bill goes into, he's looking at his old photo, he's looking at his stuff, and the photo winks at him. And then it starts bleeding, and the family can't see the blood. And that's also that sense that comes in later with about that there's something wrong in Derry and people don't notice. There's this blood coming out of this book. It's on the mother's hands, and no one sees it.
Georgie. No.
Yeah, there's stuff like that in the '90s movie that works and is actually really good horror, but the new one just it doesn't do that. Like
But-
it doesn't have any scene that's like that
Yeah.
to make it like
But
that
once
scary
again, like
factor.
I've always told you, Ray, in movie, for me, what makes a great movie are the small little things. Small little things that is what makes it great. That's why I think a lot of movies back in the day are great because of small little things. It's
Small
just it's
details.
just a look. It's just a saying. I mean, just saying small details. I mean, a lot of movies today
Well,
don't do that.
well, because a lot of people don't know what makes horror anymore.
We live in a day and age where everything's got to be done in 2 hours. Got to have a few explosions, some over the top deaths. Whereas back in the old days, you could actually pay attention to the script in detail. That further along.
That's the problem with a lot of modern horror movies.
Well, like I said, once again, small details. And Halloween, I mean, a part that I think was scary in that movie is when Jamie Lee Curtis is sitting there kind of like crying.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, from the back, you see the bed. Now all of a sudden, you see Michael Myers sit up, and the song comes on, and he just turns around and looks at it. You know what I mean? Once again, nothing major, just a smaller thing. That was scary compared to It in 2017, which I like. But when he comes at you in the movie, it's a pop up. It's like,
But you know who did a good job of that? Is The Conjuring 2 with the painting of the nun, where she goes in the background and then she kind of fades in, and then all of a sudden she kind of comes out.
That actually
The
scared
one
the
who
hell
made
out of
those movies, like James Wan, who made Saw, Insidious, The Conjuring, some of that. He understands jump scares very well. He only adds it to where when something actually is supposed to be scary, like not a false jump scare. Like you remember in Insidious when she goes to the bedroom and sees the baby is like the guy behind the curtain.
Yeah,
that actually has a part where it has a sound effect, but that part's supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be a jump scare.
But anyways, we got kind of sidetracked here. So let's go back to the movie.
Well, Jonathan Brandis for me was the perfect Bill, as a kid version. I believed his performance when he cried.
90s, right?
Yes, it's from 1990.
Okay.
He, I don't know the character of the actual actor of Bill in the 2017 version, but the parts that are burned in my mind, and maybe because it's a childhood memory, is when he's saying, you killed my brother, George, you bastard.
You killed my brother George, you bastard! Let's see you now. Let's see you now. He's scared of us, I can feel that. I swear to God I can. I want to kill it.
Or or at the end when he tells them, swear to me, if it isn't dead, we'll all come back.
Swear to me. Swear to me that if it isn't dead, we'll all come back.
I swear.
Swear. I swear it. Yeah, swear.
I swear too.
Swear. Swear.
And that's the kid I would follow to the ends of the earth to help with. That's the kind of learn that's your buddy.
Not
that's
Stan.
Everyone. Yeah, well, not Stan, but we'll discuss that later.
Yeah, the new Bill doesn't really have that kind of
He doesn't invoke that confidence.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's just kind of there. And they kind of just go with him because that's what the script says they do.
This Bill kind of just fades in with the rest of the losers.
Right.
Whereas the 90s Bill, I think, stands out from the losers. Well, actually, to tell you the truth, the 90s, they all kind of stand out individually.
Because of their own, they're all strong.
In this movie, it's Richie and the gang.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. This is all about Richie, pretty much.
I think Richie, because originally when the movie was announced and they announced that kid from Stranger Things was going to be in there, I thought he was going to be Bill, which that made me excited. I was like, oh, great, we're doing this. But, I mean, he does great as Richie. I think he actually fits Richie very well. But I think he would have been a great Bill as well.
Yep. Yeah, he probably would have made Bill better.
Okay, so by that, let's jump into Richie now.
Richie!
Not that Richie.
Not that Richie.
All right, we'll talk about Richie. Let's go.
Well, okay, Miss Richie in this movie, I think he steals the show, but I can relate to him because of the show Stranger Things, which I'm waiting for season 2 to come out. I say he steals the movie. His lines in the movie are on point and funny. I can't say anything bad about Richie. Ray?
I like Richie, like you said, from Stranger Things. I almost kind of wish 11 was playing Beverly, just because I like that show very much. The Richie from the 1990s version, Green, I thought he did a good Richie, but his was what, the 1950s Richie?
1960s.
Whereas they had to update Richie, to what, 1980s here now?
Yes.
But I don't think they could have found a better character who who I guess embodied that character. His comedy wasn't over the top. I love the part when he tells the mom, hey, do you want a kiss from me too? She kind of like, she's like, goddamn, Richie wants to slap us a bit. Yeah, so I think his character, although, I guess in the movie, is he kind of in denial?
I guess a little bit, right? With Stan,
he's just joking the whole time. Mm-hmm. He's going in the sewer with no reservations. Mm-hmm. He doesn't start getting scared to start talking about clowns.
He's scared of clowns, but he never really has his one moment when he's scared.
That's what I'm trying to say. In the movie, was there ever a Richie moment?
No, because I think he experiences it with Bill and
when they go
Street,
into the house, right?
Yeah.
Like Bill and Ray said, I enjoy Richie in this new version. To me, he's the biggest bright spot of this movie. I really enjoyed the actor, how everything was, and like I said, that scene where he tells the mom, "If you want a kiss from me too," that reminds me of the book Richie, because in the book Richie is talking about how he kind of gets on his parents' nerves because he's so insane with stuff, and he actually isn't very good at impressions, which is supposed to be kind of like the funny thing later on in the book, because and they mentioned in the 90s version about how all his voices sound the same, that he couldn't really be a professional comedian because he doesn't really sound all that funny.
Richie Toge is my name, and doing voices is my game. I want to be the first rock and roll singer from Derry. Either that or an impressionist.
Your voices all sound the same, Richie.
Thanks a bunch, Professor.
But he's constantly trying to make jokes and everything, but he's always one of the first ones to stand up for his friends as well. But in this version, I think this version, 90s version, book version, I loved Richie.
I like Richie. I like everybody else about Stranger Things that we all watch. So yeah, I liked him in there, so I liked him as Richie. I do like the way they wrote his character. I have no problem with his jokes, because one thing for me, in a lot of modern movies, I hate the way they do like kids or teenagers, because they do it all like the way Disney does it, where it's all super kiddie and they don't sound realistic. Richie sounds like the way we talked when we were kids. Everybody talks that way. I don't believe that super Disney bullshit. They talk all PG that's not how kids talk. So Richie,
everyone curses when their parents aren't around,
like the way they did in the Goonies.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way kids talk in that age. So making Richie the way he talks, all his jokes that way, is very accurate. It's very realistic. So I love the way he is. I like Seth Green, and obviously Seth Green's jokes make sense for that era, for that time, place, for that movie taste.
Way to go, Banana Heels.
Yeah. So, but in this era for the 80s, it makes sense here too, the way he talks. So I have no problem with Richie at all in the movie. So I think he pretty much steals the whole show out of all the Loser Club.
Okay, so now let's talk about Mike.
I think this movie did a great disservice to Mike. As the only minority character in there, they completely took away his storyline. That's one of the biggest disappointments of the movie. Mike is the lighthouse. Mike is the historian. Mike is the one who stays behind to take care of everything and fulfill the promise, and they completely took that storyline away from him.
Yeah, they kind of gave it to Ben, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ben. They made Ben the historian when it was Mike in the 90s version.
Mm-hmm.
Was that,
in the book.
That was the book as well, too? I thought they really shortchanged Mike in this movie. His character wasn't as interesting in this one as it is in 90. I don't know how it's going to play out in the second chapter, but I have to say I was kind of disappointed in Mike.
This film is useless. He
Yeah.
has no point to be there. He really has no real story. His whole story is about shooting sheeps.
Which is a shame, because like I said, I like Mike in the 90s.
But the book pretty much followed. I think in reality, the 90s version followed the book more so than this one did. And it was promised that this was going to follow the
But
book.
once again, like Ray said, you're trying to put enough information in a 2-hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But even though you change the whole movie. But
And then another character I think I was disappointed with
was Beverly.
was Stan's character. Where
Well, Stan was another one that I don't think you really noticed him.
Stan
didn't actually stand out. In the other movie, I liked the way he was always like everything had like logic to it.
He was grabbing his ear.
He couldn't believe what they were saying or what they were seeing, because it didn't make sense to him in his world. It wasn't until he ran into the mummy, I believe.
Yeah, he runs into the mummy in the 90s version.
In the 90s version, yeah.
was trapped. The only thing he could think of to do was to hold his bird book out in front of him like a shield and say as loud as he could the names of all the birds he could remember. Long-necked finch,
Speckled grouse, Baltimore Oriole. Gray egret, hammerhead, woodpecker, brown thrush.
And in this one, they made the scary woman. What do you call it? It was that one. You know,
It looked cheapy.
it was kind of cheap because
It kind of reminds you of The Conjuring.
but it was like he had a fear of a painting in the room, not it.
It wasn't done well.
It wasn't like it was actually tormenting him. It was more like he was afraid of that picture, and that picture was coming at him. Yeah, so I feel kind of shortchanged on Stan in this movie.
Because to me, the reason why in the 90s version of the book, and what I loved in the 90s version is when they're all holding hands in the fall, because they're saying like, hold hands, we don't get separated. And when he looks over, he's all, I think he says Bev, or it's Pennywise holding his hand, and he grabs him and pulls him out, and and Pennywise explains to them, he wants them afraid because they taste better when they're afraid, and that's why he does those things.
Stanley boy.
Yeah.
Let go. Be afraid.
Bev, the stones!
You all taste so much better when you're afraid.
Hurry, Bev, kill it!
Kill me? Oh, you are priceless, brat. I am eternal, child. I am the eater of worlds and of children. And you are next.
Dan is the one who saw the dead lights.
Yeah.
He saw its true form, and it terrified him. Which is why later on, and of course this is going to be a spoiler, but Stan kills himself. Stan is the only one who doesn't come back.
In the book, in the 90s movie. We don't know about 2017.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
They
But
should follow that.
They should follow that.
Maybe he comes back, with a shotgun and a chainsaw hand, and
He's not Ash.
I don't see.
He's not Ash. Stan pretty much has no character in this movie. It's just like Mike. They took away his character. He's just there because they needed another kid there because he's part of the book, but they don't show him like he's scared he sees the real form of it. He has no real logic. He's just in the background. They don't even really show his friendship very well, because when the 90s version in the book, the way they start hanging out together is because Stan and Richie are really good friends. Yeah.
And Stan starts hanging out with them because Richie is really good friends with Bill.
Yeah. That kind of doesn't work right in the new movie, because in the original movie, you had Bill and Eddie. They were friends. You had Richie and Stan, and then Ben kind of just shows up, and so does Beverly, and then Mike also kind of shows up.
Because they all brought each other into the group.
But in this one, they're just kind of, we're all friends, we're all there. There's no real depth.
The combinations, they were losers, and they're all together. But in the movie, it was, like you said, it was Richie and Stan who were friends, and Eddie and Bill who were friends, and they kind of met because of Richie.
Yeah, because in the book, Stan doesn't even go to the same school as them. He goes to a Jewish school because he's one of the few Jewish kids in the thing. I think they have their own school.
Another character that I was kind of disappointed in, and I don't want to attack the actor personally, was Beverly. Just don't think she was very pretty. In the 90s in the book, Beverly is not supposed to be this hot babe or anything. But,
actually, she is.
Is she?
Yeah, in the book, because Bill marries a movie star.
Yeah, movie star, yeah.
And she looks exactly like Beverly.
See, in this movie, I don't think no one look at her.
Well, I would hope you wouldn't look at her. She's a little girl.
Yeah, I know, but,
Hello.
But I don't see the loser club looking at her like that.
My issue, like I said before, was I was uncomfortable. Like, yes, I understand that they're like, oh, she's a girl. She's the only girl. I don't like how much screen time they spent showing this little girl in her bra and how much focus they were on that.
Yeah,
I get she's a girl, but at the end of the day, she was their buddy too.
I really didn't need that.
The 90s version, other than Ben, nobody has any romantically involved.
Only Ben and Bill.
What do you call? They're more like she's a tomboy, just part of the game.
She's one of the guys.
I mean, in the book, all of them all kind of have a crush on her, but at the end of the day, she's their buddy. She is their friend.
Of course, I know they have an orgy in the book. What do you call?
Well, yeah. But like I said, that was a different time period. I think it was probably misunderstood. Even Stephen King says he wouldn't have put that in there now. But at the time, that made sense.
How does it make sense for the time?
Because he said at the time when he wrote the book, it wasn't about a sexual act. It was about, they were lost, they were frightened, scared. It was just about bringing them back together as a group. And it was showing that these were no longer children anymore. They just faced the most horrible thing that anyone could face. And they were now adults.
So it kind of sounds like, we're adults now, orgy.
So,
but Beverly's character, they took Stan's part and gave it to her.
Yeah.
She saw the deadlights in
right.
this movie.
And I said, and to me, I don't know if they were trying to think like, oh, this is empowering. And didn't they say something about the blood was supposed to show about her being pubescent?
Yeah. And it really didn't show like she was the marksman of the group.
Yes, she was the strong one in the group.
Out of 10. Don't think I need to shoot.
It's like it's supposed to be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the part in the 90s version when she shoots it with the Silverstones.
Because, I mean, at the end, even if Bill's the leader, they're all standing behind Beverly telling her, kill it, Bev, kill it. Yep. Because they trust her that she's going to be the one to do it.
Even the scene when all the blood comes out of the sink and like it shows like the father coming, he doesn't see it. Mm-hmm. To me, it doesn't work as well as the one in the 90s did.
No,
like like she realizes that he doesn't see it, and it has that music, the music in the background that plays, and he's just there touching it, and and she's just like wondering like, how the hell does he not notice all this blood? And the new one, it doesn't really play that up as well.
Well, what is it you think you saw? Speak up, girl. You, Biffy. Sometimes I worry a lot. Now explain yourself.
There was a spider. A big fat spider. It crawled out of the drain, and I guess it crawled back down again.
Now, these buildings are old. The drain's the size of the hall and tunnel. There's nothing there now. Get to bed.
Say hello to your friends, Beverly. Die if you try to fight us. You'll die if you try. You'll die if you try to fight us, Beverly. You'll die if you try. You'll die if you try. You'll die if you try.
And the thing is with her father, this one they made him more like a sick, pedophile, ancestral father. Where the father in the other movie, I took it as he was just a stern father. Didn't want her messing with a bunch of boys because, he didn't want her.
Well, because in the book, she does have a reputation.
Have that kind of reputation, exactly.
But, I mean, in the book, they kind of hint the mother, because in the book, her mother is alive. She is a part of her life. She does ask her, does your father touch you? And obviously it doesn't happen because Beverly has no clue what she's talking about. But there is a scene in the book but it's Pennywise possessing her father, where he's heard all this stuff about her. So he's asking her if she's still intact. And he's telling her, I know how to check. So he does try to grab her to look, and she fights her father off. But she realizes that it's not her dad, it's Pennywise. And she runs out of there, and I think she runs to Ben, or she meets the rest of the losers.
Then he said that you didn't like that they made her like a damsel in distress.
Yeah.
They have to go save her.
Yeah, I didn't like that they had to go save her, because at the end of the day, none of them were, weaklings or damsels. They were all strong as a group. They all went in as a group. They all really went to go fight as a group. I don't like that they separated them that way. If anyone was the damsel, it should have been Stan.
Yeah. He was the weak link of the group.
All right, so now let's talk about Ben.
Well, Ben in this movie, they took Mike's character and gave it to Ben, which I didn't really care for. I did like that they kept him chubby. Well, in the 1990 version,
Yeah.
he's the awkward kind of fat little boy. And when we see him in the reprisal when he's older, you know, he's a chef, you know, and he's tall. Wait.
I thought that's Three's Company, John Ritter.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, what is he in this one?
He's an architect.
Okay. He's an architect. What do you call? But you know, he's tall, thinner.
He's like the historian now.
Yeah. So I don't know how they're gonna go with this. What do you call? But yeah, Ben's character I thought was kind of there. I mean, like I said, in this whole loser group, other than Richie, I don't think anybody really stands out in this movie.
I mean, I did like that the only reason why Beverly came out of her comatose state was because Ben kissed her. So, which leads me to hope, even though they had that Bill and Beverly kiss at the very end of the movie, that it's still Ben and Beverly will be the end game. Because, you know, I love that scene in the 90s version where when they're adults and Ben is thinking he's kissing Beverly and turns out to be Pennywise.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Yeah.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Later on, when Beverly is reciting the poem to him because she realized it was him that wrote her that poem.
I knew it all along.
Yeah, and then he's just like, "Is that you or the clown?"
Yeah. Oh,
You were the damn clown in it.
Your hair is winter fire.
Why'd you say that?
You wrote it, didn't you? Your hair is winter fire, January embers, something. When I was young, I thought it was Bill, but it was you, wasn't it?
Damn it, Bev, is that you in there? Is that the clown? I don't know what the hell is going on. How am I supposed to know?
Again, like the rest of them, Ben's kind of just there. He doesn't do much in the group either. When you really analyze this film, you kind of realize all the kids don't really offer anything. They don't really do anything. They really have no character of their own. They just pretty much take other characters. That makes me believe in the sequel, is Ben going to be the one who stays behind? Is Mike going to become an architect? Or Mike going to become a farmer now?
Well, I mean,
sheep and everything?
They showed Bill trying to do architecture, which...
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So why isn't Bill doing writing?
Though I was surprised to see and I wonder if they're going to show it in the sequel, that Henry actually did carve the H into Ben's skin.
Yeah.
Because that happens in the book, and later on, because as they become adults and after they leave, they start losing their memories of what happened. They completely forget each other, what
you
they
can be
did.
terrorized by a killer clown in a town and forget about it is beyond me.
They do.
They block it out.
But apparently, like, they even don't, the scars on their bodies even seem to disappear and reappear once they're told about it, because when Mike starts calling all of them, the scars they had on their hands from the cuts, it starts reappearing. Ben even says that later on, as he gets back into Derry, he starts seeing the H back on his stomach.
Well, maybe because, like, in all Stephen King movies, what do you call, it's related to the town. Mm-hmm. What do you call, like, in Salem's Lot, what do you call, where he says, can a house be inherently evil?
Mm-hmm.
You
well,
know,
a car can.
And then, like, in
well, let me ask you
Needful
this.
Things, you know.
Maybe the H on his stomach, maybe it's not real. It's not really there. You know what I mean?
Well, but he does actually cut his ass up.
Does he? Oh,
yeah,
he does.
Maybe it's just a manifestation of Derry, what do you call?
Yeah, and that's what they assumed, because they said that when they left Derry, it was like a veil went over in their minds.
Kind of like the mist.
Yeah.
So anyway, so now the last guy we're going to talk about of the losers.
No,
we didn't talk about Eddie.
We talk about Eddie.
We didn't talk about Eddie?
No, we didn't talk about Eddie at all.
Eddie, once again, I mean, I liked him in this movie, you know what I mean? It was all great, but I didn't like it that when they fought to go fight Pennywise, he didn't use his inhaler. I like the scene when he puts Pennywise.
This is battery acid, you slime.
Yeah, and also Pennywise, you know.
This is battery acid, you slime.
At first, in the movie, I thought he was just joking when he put his hand on his head, and then when his hand comes off, he sees his...
But that's supposed to show that because they believed in it, and it was real.
Yeah.
So it had to be real. And the one thing I hate about this, like in the book, they followed the scene, in this new movie, they followed the scene from the book almost exact, because in the book, Eddie meets a leper, and because he's afraid of germs and everything, because his mom has Munchausen, and she's convincing Eddie that he's sick. But I really prefer the 1990 version. I think it's scarier with the shower scene, Tim Curry coming out.
Claymation was like, woo.
Well, no, that wasn't that. That was at the end.
Oh. No, but the ground was claymation.
The ground was claymation. But I mean, that one, I think it shows more Tim Curry's genius because there's really nothing there. All it is just fake teeth, but it sounds and looks scary. He could have killed Eddie there, but it was all about just the fear.
Adjustments. Here I am, Wheezy. Hey, you're gonna like it down here. Won't do any good to run, girly boy. See you in your dreams. Oh, come back anytime. Bring your friends.
So that's exactly what it messes up. When you get a chance to eat somebody. What do you call?
So
because he was afraid of the losers.
Monologuing, yeah.
Well, that's kind of the problem. I say with the new movie compared to the original. All the original ones, right? The original one, they all see what they're scared of, but they always see it right after.
Yeah, they see the clown.
Sometimes they don't even see it. Richie almost never sees the whole film. You know,
which makes me wonder why the hell did Richie go after them?
Did Ben ever see it?
Ben?
He's chasing him.
Something was chasing him.
Mike never
but he turns into it.
Stan saw the painting.
Stan saw the painting, and he just took off. Mike, I mean, technically we know he saw it, but not far away. All you see is just lights. Dancing.
Yeah.
But you don't. Would you know it's a clown behind all that stuff? You're like, what the fuck is it? I mean, Mike didn't really see it until he saw him waving the hand. You know, the original one you saw.
Even then, in 2017, he's waving the hand.
Yeah.
It made no sense. It just.
I actually thought that was kind of funny.
It should have been for Bill.
Yeah, but it was just like we haven't put a part of Mike yet with Pennywise. Just put
just gotta push him in there. Yeah, like in the original one, you see with Bill, he sees Georgie, and then he sees it. And with Ben, he sees his dad, but then he sees it. Beverly sees the blood, then she hears it. You know, Mike. What the fuck does Mike see in the movie?
Mike has always known about it. Mike, when he doesn't see it until the picture.
To the book. And then Stan sees the mummy, you know, and that's what scared the shit out of him. And Eddie, he sees it come out of the damn floor. And Richie sees the Wolfman first. Yeah, he sees the Wolfman. Then he sees it. You know, but at least they all see it pretty much. Because the new one, they never really see it. Most of them don't even see that.
Because that's what I liked about the 90s version, because they're all gathered together talking about seeing what they see and everything. And
it's almost like they're blindly following Bill.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it wasn't like the 90s version where they all had their own personal experience.
There's almost no motivation to even go down to the sewers.
We need to talk about Henry. Henry is a huge part of this.
He's the main character.
Listen, this is what I want you to Henry. Henry was an asshole. He deserved to die. He did die. In the story.
Yeah, but we don't know if he did die.
Henry in this movie I thought was a lot meaner than the 90s version. Because this one, you could just feel the hate in this guy. And compared to the 90s version, yeah, he was an asshole.
He was just an ass.
But in this one, he was more like he had a lot of anger and hating him. And I mean, to literally carve his name.
Well, he does in the book, too.
Into Ben. Trying to kill Mike on the side of the river.
I think because the book version is a little bit closer to like this new version of Henry. Because in the book, he kills Mike's dog. He poisons him. He purposely does a lot of shit against Mike and his family because they live on the same farms together. Henry even entertains thoughts of that he's going to rape Beverly as soon as he can get her.
He even has some weird distractions with Patrick, and they do some kind of gay stuff.
Well, they're lighting their farts. That like the Bowers gang are lighting their farts and everything. And that guy Patrick, who he's not in the 90s version, but they kind of have some weird kind of encounter with mutual masturbation. And,
no.
Well, that's not a scene you'll see in either one of these movies. And Patrick, who's not in the 90s version, actually he kills his little brother. And they blame it, I think, on SIDS or something. But he actually kills him. And he has a refrigerator in the dump that's close to the Barrens, which is why they were close to the Losers Club. He has a fridge that he traps animals in there, and then he goes over and he visits his trophies, and apparently he masturbates with, I guess, to the side of it or something.
Yeah!
Dan Patrick's one.
Who hasn't done that?
But as a, personally, I felt that Patrick was more the leader of this group in this movie than Henry was. I mean, Henry only didn't become that until after Patrick got his ass killed. You know, and speaking of Patrick being killed, I like that scene when Patrick
that scene probably was the scariest.
Sees the dead kids in the sewer and he gets chased and he sees it and it kills that. You know, that was probably one of the. I kind of wish Patrick didn't die. I like Patrick more than Henry. I don't think Henry was done right in this film.
I don't think you're supposed to like Henry at all, though.
No, but he should at least be done correctly. Not as a character like him, but as the actor playing him. I don't like him as much.
But I think Henry's racism makes more sense in the 90s version of the book because it's set in the 50s, 60s.
Yeah. The only thing I can say about Patrick is that he looked like Colin Wynn. He died. I loved it. The end.
And then Victor and Belch, I don't know which was which, quite honestly.
Well, Belch is the fat one who always burps. You know,
that shows I really didn't pay attention.
You know, but Belch and Victor didn't get much play in this movie. You know, you hardly ever saw them.
Yeah, no play.
And then there's not even the whole part when they go into the sewers to go kill them. You don't see Belch there. You don't see Victor there. Patrick's already dead. You just see Henry, and Henry's by himself. They're supposed to be all three of them going to the sewer to kill all the losers. Which never happens.
Yeah, because Victor meets Frankenstein's monster and it takes his head off. Belch, I don't remember how he dies in the book, but he's sucked up in the pipe
in the movie.
In the
1990s
in the 1990 movie.
What was that?
Did they die in this movie?
They don't show. It never shows them. It shows Henry with his car, and you don't know what happens to them. You don't know if he just took his car or he killed them.
Yeah, because
it doesn't explain.
Because what I liked in the 90s version with Henry after when Belch was taken, and obviously Henry sees it in its pure form. He sees the deadlights. I love that scene where it just turns and you see Henry's hair go white.
Belch. God, it's not in there anymore.
That's a problem too, because Henry gets scared and then he gets blamed for all the murders. This one, Henry falls down a well and it looks like he died. So it's like,
what happened?
It kind of fucks up the rest of the story because now it's like, wait, now it's not going to be Henry. So who are they going to blame all the missing kids on now?
Because that's what happens in the book and the thing, because it comes back every 27 years to feed, and there's some kind of either explanation or there's also a tragedy that also marks when everything happens. For the cycle in this movie, it's Georgie's death. The flood actually is the cycle, is when it starts.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And the ironworks exploding before the Easter egg thing.
Yeah.
All of that starts and, something is blamed for it. There's something, so it's kind of explained away. So Henry was blamed for that cycle. But I don't know what's going to happen now.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what to do now. It possibly died. Okay, but another character we didn't talk about is Georgie.
Oh, Georgie.
Completely forgot about Georgie.
The whole reason why this starts.
Yeah. So how'd you feel about Georgie in this film?
In the first movie, I didn't feel much for that Georgie. But this Georgie, the part where he gets his arm bitten off and he's straggling to get away and it pulls him back in the thing. I almost lost at that part. What do you call? Yeah. That really hit me emotionally. Mm-hmm. Whereas compared to the 90s version, it was like, okay.
You don't see anything. Yeah. You just hear him scream and that's it. And this one, seeing him trying to crawl away, that really, really bothered me. And I don't have children.
Yeah, that's really sad. But the problem with that is that creates the whole problem, which we talked about with Bill, where they don't even find Georgie. Georgie's just missing now. Well, in the book, the neighbor finds them and he brings Georgie to the parents, and that's what they see.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have the funeral for Georgie. This one, you don't even see that. The original movie in the book, you understand why the parents are mad at Bill because Bill's going to give him the boat, or why they blame him.
Why Bill feels so
why he feels guilty. This one, since Georgie goes missing, it's like, no, it's like, oh, Georgie's just missing now. It kind of ruins even Georgie's character.
Well, yeah, I think had they kept it where he was trying to crawl away and he died, I think that would have been better, rather than seeing that weird effect of Pennywise having super, like, he became Inspector Gadget and he grabbed Georgie in.
He became that clown in Scary Movie too.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, what are you doing?
Get your finger out there.
Uncle Ray got a game for you.
Peekaboo! Come on, let's play! This is a fun game! Hey, what are you doing? Uncle Ray Ray's got a game. Hey, get your finger out of there! Tickle, 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 tickle! You wanna play with Uncle Ray? Come on! Here's a little balloon animal.
Well, let's talk about It. The movie is called It. It's about It, and personally, I think It hardly comes out in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we really don't see him in this movie.
I don't know if it was they were trying to like build up the anticipation, but I don't think it worked.
All we saw him was behind balloons all the time. I think the balloon comes out more than It does.
Yeah, that's what I disliked about this movie, is that the balloons are scary for a reason because that was supposed to signal, but it was used way too much in this film.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the balloon was like Jaws' shark fin. Every time you saw the shark fin come out, you knew that was your ass. Every time you saw a balloon, you knew it was your ass.
Almost every scene, the balloon's always in front of his face, and then like pops away. And then you see Patrick dies. You see the balloon first, and then pop. You see It, and then when Eddie, you see all the balloons in front of his face, and then it goes away, and then you see It. I think they did it
Too many times.
way too much with the balloons.
They did it with Eddie. They did it with
you saw
Patrick.
They showed the balloon when Ben's in the library. It's just,
Ben's in the library.
Ben's getting caught like a fish.
And Ben's getting carved. You see it in the car. It's in there. So it's like, they kind of pushed the whole balloon thing too much. And also, I'm not sure if it's because of the actor.
Is it even in a damn poster?
If it's because of the actor or not. But see, when Tim Curry, he actually had, he was talking with the kids, trying to scare them. This one didn't really have any interaction with the kids.
I like it
till the end.
I like it in the 90s version when he comes out of the drain. I like I know it turned into Gumby. Yeah, I mean that looks kind of cheap.
It was early 90s.
Yeah, you had to work what you had.
But
you know what I mean,
most of the effects on the 90s ones, I think, look better than the new ones, because the new ones, they put too much CGI in the teeth and too much CGI in his face. You don't need all that CGI.
I like that part when Eddie goes, try battery acid, and he's like, sorry kid, I don't believe in fairy tales.
Lorik, Prince of Elves, demon be gone!
Sorry, kid. I don't believe in fairy tales.
Welcome to prime time,
but
bitch.
Because there's a scene. There's a scene at the end of this new movie where Pennywise is just randomly dancing. I have no idea what the hell's about. I don't know. Was it supposed to be scary? It just looks stupid.
That's Pennywise, the dancing
was
clown.
Was that in the book?
No.
Okay, because the reason why I figured why they added it, because his name is Pennywise the Dancing Clown, which is why I figured why they added it.
Because
if you were the juggling clown, it would have been juggling.
The problem is that the dancing clown type of thing, you see that in those photos. What I loved in the 90s version and in the book is when the Losers Club finally sees them all together. It's not, they can't pretend like it's just me hallucinating. Is when Mike brings that book and he's showing them the photos of all the horrible things. And you see Pennywise is in each photo from years and years apart. And that slow buildup, I think, which is wonderful with Tim Curry, and I love how they handled that scene, is you see him in the background, you see everything moving, they can smell things, they hear everything.
Yeah, you see him, he looks at you.
And then you just hear a growl, and you see all the kids visibly go back. And then all of a sudden, he's getting closer, and he rushes up, and, and he starts telling them, I'll kill you all, like, I'm in your dreams, I'm everything you've ever been afraid of. That's terrifying.
Harrison is the part where they all have the book, or in the modern one they have the
slideshow,
the projector. Mm-hmm. But the whole projector part, it doesn't have anything scary about it. Like, first of all, that scene you saw in the trailer, I don't know how many times, and then just him having his hair move out of the way, and then he just when he pops out of the screen, yeah, he looks really fakey. It's all really bad CGI on it. And he looks way overly huge. It doesn't look... I think just the hand popping out was more effective than his whole body popping out. Mm-hmm. Now, younger audiences may disagree with that because they go, hey, this is I love the way it looks better than the original one. I'm like, yeah, you can believe that. It's fine.
I mean, I'm critical of this, but at the end of the day, I do like Bill Skarsgård. I do like his version of it. I think he made his own version. It's his.
That's fine.
I think it works.
What he does is okay, but I don't see him ever being as scary as it. And like I said, I don't think people even think he's scary that much because they said you have cosplays of it of sexy.
I think too many girls want to fuck him. That's why.
That's nothing too. I don't hate the guy who played it. He did a good job with what he was given. He made it his own role. But I think just the movie in general, he's not really scary in this film. He looks cool looking. I liked a lot of stuff he does in the movie, but he's not scary though. I didn't find Tim Curry scary either. But I can understand why.
I found Tim Curry scary.
I can understand why people did. It's all in his eyes and his voice. This one just doesn't have that appeal. And I know he's more accurate looking in the book than this one, than Tim Curry's one. But Tim Curry, he just made that role just work.
Okay, so out of 5 floppy shoes, you give it what? 4? You?
3.
I give it a 4.
I give it, I guess, a 4.5. I can't give it a 5 because then that means the movie was perfect. So I give it a 4.5.
I don't know how you can give this movie a 4.5.
But okay, it's just this generation's movie. This movie still stayed true to the original.
I completely disagree with you because to me, this movie did not follow. It was marketed that it was going to follow the book so much. It was going to fill in those plot holes that the miniseries couldn't do and everything. It didn't. It left it lacking. If anything, the miniseries, as far as character development, fear, everything, the miniseries has it over that.
Yeah, but the miniseries, it was 3 days, right? Wasn't it?
It was like a 3-hour. It's like a 6-hour movie, I think.
6 hours. Yeah,
3 or 4 days.
It's 3 hours, 3-4 day event, so you can put more stuff in there. But in the movie, you got to put it in 2 hours.
You have time constraints on the movie.
So I think the only thing that's accurate in the movie, this new one, is for one, it looks a little bit more close to the book. They freaking carved Ben's stomach.
Patrick came out.
Actually showing Georgie's arm.
Patrick came out. Yeah, you see Georgie.
The house was mentioned.
The house was mentioned. The house
on Newbold Street. That's in there. The leper. But other than that, a lot of the core elements, what makes it great, aren't really in
the little
film.
things.
The little things. It's the details are not there anymore.
Well, I would say the little things, but I would say a lot of stuff is the major things, the character development, and it's not there. That's pretty major.
Because I think that's the thing too. I don't really care about these kids very much. I really don't root for them. I'm not afraid like when they're having their fears and, I'm not concerned for them because a lot of them, they're just background.
She's a mean bitch. I
know. And that's it. Even in the original one, the very last scene when they finally defeat it in the first half of it, they're hitting them, fighting them, but they're still obviously scared. In this one, they clearly got over their fear and they're being the shit out of him. So it makes you think, why are they going to be scared of him in the next film?
Yeah, because that's the thing. Even though in the next part, it is supposed to kind of like taunt them back, which I actually hate that they didn't show this in here. In the first part of the movie, the reason why Mike starts calling everyone to let them know the murders have happened is because that murder of that little girl, when you first see in the laundry, which is a really good scene because it shows Tim Curry. He looks friendly. He looks funny. She's giggling and smiling. He's waving. And he just slowly starts looking mean and ugly. And it's starting to get terrifying. And you never see what happens to the little girl. But obviously it was horrible. The reason why the part what I dislike is that because Mike finds Georgie's picture at that crime scene because it is taunting them back. It wants it back because it's terrified of them, but at the same time, these kids got something over him. It wants to kill them, even though it technically is a female.
But he keeps telling them to go away.
But that's another thing we didn't mention too. Like I said, this one they didn't go into the sewer at the end.
Yeah, they were supposed to be in the sewer.
They went to the house and then went to a well that leads, I guess, to the sewer.
I do agree in part 2. Why would they be scared? Because they would beat him. More like they were like angry at him, right?
Yeah, they got pissed. But that's the thing, because I think it loses that because at the end they all come out. They're all still scared. They're shivering. And at the end, they're obviously still terrified.
Well,
but Bill tells them, swear to me if it's still here, we'll come back.
It's like Stan. They didn't put that scene when Pennywise picks him up and puts him against the wall. I mean, in this movie, if you Stan, why would you be scared of him?
Stanley boy. Let go. Be afraid.
No, he really has no reason to
Well,
be.
I mean, Stan has that one scene where something goes over his face, right? Where they're down there.
Where the actual...
It was biting him.
Where the pain is biting him. But is that really more than enough to actually really force him to commit suicide? After he just whooped his ass in the sewer?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of stuff in this movie kind of ruins their characters a bit, where it doesn't make sense. Because now, it's like we said, is Mike going to be the one to call them back now? Because he's not a historian here.
Ben.
No, Ben. Is it Ben going to be the one calling them back?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, is Mike not going to call them back now because he's not the historian here? Is Ben still going to be an architect? Is
Bill a writer?
Is Bill still going to be a writer? Is Henry still going to be blamed for all this? It kind of changes. It fucks up a lot of stuff where now the sequel, it's going to be very different because you can't follow the book because you change so much shit. So what the hell are they going to do for the sequel? I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, that and also what we didn't touch about with Eddie. Eddie still doesn't know that he's not really sick.
Yeah, well, except for
she told him
that girl tells him that. But
yeah, the girl tells him that, but I mean, it's another kid telling him that.
Yeah, I know.
The pharmacist is the one. I don't know why they made Mr. Keene so creepy in this way. For whatever reason, this movie decided to make everyone like a pedophile. Like, I mean,
maybe that's the new thing in this situation.
I mean, is that the problem with Derry that Beverly gets almost sexually assaulted every time she goes out?
The city run by pedophiles.
Did you see any other women in that movie besides her?
Well, the other girls.
Well, that one girl who tells Eddie about that thing, but I mean, that's really about it.
That's because she tells Eddie about it's a placebo, but he kind of just accepts it. In the original one, when he tells him that, he doesn't believe it. He doesn't want to believe it.
Yeah, he's upset because he doesn't want to believe his mother is lying to him.
Yeah, but this one doesn't even have that.
Old enough. Come with me. Come on. Relax, Eddie. I'm not going to bite you. Most of your troubles come from you being so tight and stiff all the time. You take your asthma, for instance. Do you know what a placebo is, Eddie?
I gotta go.
It's water, Eddie. Water with a squirt of camphor to make it taste like medicine.
No.
Your doctor is weak and your mother is determined that you're ill. And you, my friend, are caught in the middle.
It's all a lie, a great big lie. I do have asthma, I do.
Though in the book, Eddie is a little bit stronger because Eddie actually gets his arm broken in the book by Henry.
Yeah.
Because actually that shows Henry being even more sadistic. He breaks Eddie's arm it's pouring rain outside. I think he does it outside the pharmacy.
Yeah. Overall, I think most of us kind of like it. Ashley is the one who doesn't really like it.
It's okay. It's an okay movie. It would not be in my top 10 horror films.
Oh, yeah, I probably wouldn't put it there either. Me either. Overall, it's a fun film for what it is. But if you're really going by the book or going by the original movie...
If you make comparisons,
you're going to find lots of problems. I would still suggest you still go watch the 1990 movie, and I would even suggest you go read the book or pick up the audiobook. Either way.
The book is actually much scarier, but the book you can skip lots of chapters.
But the book, you use your own imagination, which places more fears on you.
Right.
But like I said, this 2017 version, if you never saw the 90 version, never read the book, I think you'd be entertained.
Pretty much, yeah, I think so.
I think you would like the movie. This movie too. We all agree this movie is a pretty good movie.
But that might be why people may not understand why we're kind of so critical on certain things of the movie.
Like, oh, who are these guys, man? Putting out this movie.
We grew up in the 90s one, so so it's kind of hard to really get behind a lot of what the movie does when you know some stuff's wrong or it ruins things.
And then that's what my problem was, that while watching the movie, all I could compare was, well, that's not what happens. That doesn't happen in the book. That's not what happens, and that probably
came in biased.
Yeah, but that ruined the movie for me.
All right. Well, okay. So that's pretty much our discussion on the 2017 remake of Stephen King's It. If you agree with us, if you disagree, let us know in the comments. If you liked our video, go ahead and like it, and please, it'll help us a lot if you share it with all your friends or wherever you want to share it to. Let people see it. And if you really enjoyed the content, then go ahead and subscribe. This month right now is October, so we're going to be trying to push out lots of Halloween horror videos right now. Hopefully, we'll be able to bring enough to keep you watching and watching and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Sam.
This is Ray, and I'm too sweet.
And this is Bill.
And our special guest,
Ashley.
Boo!
So I hope you enjoyed, and hope you guys come back for our next videos.